So my first question is, what motivates you to keep doing what you do? It's been quite a journey from Sentence of Death to Cracked Brains, like 35 years of headbanging.
Yeah, I mean, we do it for so long. It's a live thing, when you play music for so many years, it's something you just can't stop. It's like, if I would stop playing music, I would be kind of frustrated, This music, thrash metal, became my life, basically. And, we never wanted to be the biggest band on the planet, We're happy what we do. We're independent. We can tour the world. We have a lot of fans worldwide. We might never get rich from this, but it doesn't matter because we have reached a lot in this world where it's not so easy to be, an underground band nowadays. It's I see a lot of young bands are really struggling nowadays with all the modern media not paying the musicians anymore and stuff. So I think we're in a very lucky position to still do this, and we don't have to be motivated because we love what we do. I think that's the biggest gift in life is when you have a job that you like. You wake up every morning and you like to go to work, then you have the right job. And it's the same with music.
No, this is great.
Yeah.
And one thing that I noticed is that Destruction has a sort of a political side to their lyrics.
Yeah, we always had. I mean, just not on the first couple of albums because we were too young at the time, but over the years we always started to write lyrics that are meaningful to us, and something to say. And
you don't write so much about unicorns and dragons and dungeons.
It's not really my territory. Yeah.
So, what is your take on some metal fans shifting towards like the right wing? Does it bother you? Because
when we started metal, it was like a no-go. The right scene was totally not into metal. And over the years, over the black metal scene, right-wing people came into the metal scene, and for me, the metal scene is absolutely more like independent, more like left in my views, And I don't think those people belong in the metal scene, because if you're a Nazi, and you look at metalheads, we have long hair. In the Nazi times, Hitler would have put us in the gas chamber,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because we're not for the regime, we're against the regime, and we want to be different. And I think it's very sad also to see, in some countries, like in America, as an example, since Trump is the government, a lot of metalheads are Trump fans. This is a no-go. Like, this guy's a fucking idiot. He's a hypocrite, and he only goes for the money, And all of a sudden, all those metalheads are fan of this fucking asshole. It's like, man, get a grip. It's sad to see, but the development is there. But it's just a development of the world today. People are frustrated. People are looking for solutions. And it's like back in the day when the Nazis came. People were looking for something new, and history is repeating. People never learn. They continue doing wars. They continue doing shit like this, and it's the same in Germany at the moment. Because the refugees, too many refugees. The Nazis are getting more now again. And it's of course at the end it's the mistake of the politicians. They do the wrong politics, and this shit is what comes out of it.
And getting back to music, me and Jef, we've been listening to your music since like the mid-'80s. We grabbed a copy of Eternal Devastation when it came out in Brazil.
Woodstock Records.
Exactly, yeah, you got it. And then it blew our mind. We always loved it. And one thing that I noticed is that you have a sort of a trademark sound. How did you achieve that? And I feel like you continue to do what you do, and you crafted some sort of music that is very much unique. Like when you listen to it, it's Destruction.
Yeah, I think that's the highest aim you can reach as a musician, is create your own sound. That you have trademarks. People listen and say, "Hey, this got to be Destruction." And of course, Mike's riffing is very unique. And combined with my voice, it gets Destruction. We could play kids songs, and it would sound like Destruction, I think it's the combination of that,
And what kind of band inspired you to start like the Destruction in Germany in the 70s, I think?
Yeah, the late 70s was the beginning, which was important, of course. Bands like Judas Priest and Iron Maiden, and of course Motorhead was a big influence. We were a three-piece like Motorhead. They were very important for us, and of course the punk rock of the.
That's what I lived.
The Kennedys and Exploited and GBH, of course, and stuff like this was also very important, because at that time there was no metal. Metal thing was not existing. We were the only metal fans. Just Mike, me, and some other guys in our region were the only heavy metal fans. There was just 20. We were the beginning, And the other guys were listening to punk rock, because punk rock was big at the beginning.
Absolutely.
The early 80s, end of 70s, it was more punk. So we were going hanging with the punks, They had the cheap beer, and so we were hanging with the punks. And so we listened to a lot of punk rock also. But then when we started the band, we kind of somehow combined those two, the aggression from punk rock and the speed with the heavy metal riffs, And I guess it's funny that the same stuff happened in America, because Slayer, Exodus, they also did the same basically, almost in the same year. Actually, all those albums at the beginning, they came out like very close to each other, So that was the beginning of thrash metal basically. And when you look back, you don't know what happened. It just happened, It was it's a lucky strike.
You mentioned Mike's guitar riffs as an integral part of the Destruction sound, and there's a specific song. For me, it's the ultimate thrash metal riff.
That's the innovation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it.
You got to ask Mike how he created the riff.
Come here. Is it a special song for you somehow? Because when we first listened to it, it was so intricate. It stays in your mind.
A little bit more like a lead part in the beginning, because of all this thriller kind of stuff. Yeah. But in the end, I stole it a little bit from Megadeth.
From Megadeth?
Rattlehead.
Well, it got better than Megadeth. Much better.
It's kind of the technique he plays in Rattlehead with this pull-off.
Yeah, it's funny
stuff. And I just liked that song. I didn't want to steal it, but I liked the technique he had there.
Also, what the important guitar player was the guy on the first Jaguar album, because he played a lot of riffs with those hammer-ons,
Yeah.
I remember when the Jaguar album came out, it was the next step of British heavy metal, because the guitar player was playing all those hammer-on riffs. And I think also that's where Mike got some new ideas all of a sudden. And he played a lot of guitar in the first years, where we were all beginners, but he was already a step ahead of the time, So it was important to create those riffs, those early riffs that stick to your brain and that people still remember.
But is it your favorite riff that you created, or
it's just one of those riffs? It's. I like variety.
It's like those babies, you like them all.
Exactly, yeah. I know what you feel. The 90s seemed to be like some bad period for the thrash metal bands, like rough times for the bands. There was the grunge scene and like the funk metal scene. Thrash metal somehow it had some hard times during that decades. How did you survive? How did you manage to come around?
I mean, we also had our difficulties because the band kind of divided in the 90s.
Yeah, I
also.
know. Yeah.
So everybody did his own stuff, and I remember a lot of my friends at that time, they start to cut their hair, you know, they start to listening to techno music and grunge and stuff, you know. But we kind of never changed, you know. I remember once a girl from Roadrunner Records at that time told me, you know, you should cut your hair and play a little bit more modern kind of music, you know. And I'm like, fuck you.
The same with SPV.
You know?
Change your sound. You should sound like Extreme Noise Terror. Oh, and I don't like that. So.
I mean, that is a really weird part of history. If you look also at the most established bands at that time, they also did weird albums, you know, like Creator did Endorama, and yeah, it's, I guess sometimes something has to crash down to stand out of ashes again. And I remember also when we did our reunion in '99, there was a lot of criticism from magazines and from the scene in Germany also that said, who needs destruction back? We have all this melodic death metal now, and thrash metal is dead. Thrash metal is fucking dead, you know. And even Miller from Creator, he called me up and said, can you come to our rehearsal room? I have to play some riffs. I'm not sure what I'm doing at the moment. And where do we go? You know, so I went to the rehearsal.
Miller said that.
Yeah. So I went to the rehearsal room, and he played me those riffs, and I said, man, this is the way. You know, go more thrash again. Get away from this fucking drowsy, you know, and the rum. And then he said, yeah, but Tommy Vetterli in the band at the time from Corona, he wants to be more commercial with Creator. And I said, yeah, then he's not the right guy for the band, then you have to talk. And then he fired Vetterli, basically. And he got Sami in the band, and we did this tour together with Sodom and Creator in 2001. And that was the reincarnation, basically. And then a lot of young bands came after that. And that's fantastic to see now. There's so many young bands playing thrash metal again.
There was a resurgence.
It was.
Did you notice that when you're on the road that there's like a new generation interested in thrash metal? There was a resurgence.
A lot of young fans again. Yeah, that's something you see. There's a lot of young kids again into thrash metal because thrash metal is revolution. You know, it's wild. It's you know, has something to say. Also, the lyrics are not about dragons and unicorns.
Yeah. There's a rebellion aspect to it.
There's a rebellion aspect, and that's what you have between 15 and 20, or 12 and 20. In those years when you're young, you want to revolt against your parents, against the establishment and stuff. You know.
You mentioned Creator, and for us, like you guys and Sodom and Creator are the holy trinity of the Teutonic thrash or the German scene. Do you get along well with those guys, or the other like early thrash metal bands from Germany, like Death Row or Angel Dust? Or
they don't exist anymore.
They don't. But I mean, did you get along well with them? Or?
Oh, yeah, we always had to go. You know, at the beginning, I remember the first time I saw the Creator Tormentor at that time. Their demo was in Metal Hammer magazine in 1984, and I was like, I saw those guys. They were a trio. They were posing like us also in the pictures. So I was like, great, there's another band like us, you know. And then I read the article, and it seemed to be like, at that time they say speed metal and stuff, you know. So I was like, oh, those guys are cool. They're doing the same shit as us. And for me, that was like great to see that there's some guys doing the same stuff in Germany, because of course we knew about Slayer and Megadeth and Hyrax and stuff like this from the States. We collecting demos at that time, but for German bands. And then we met Sodom and Tankard very early, also in '84 the first time, and then we all became friends. And
you're still in touch?
Yeah, we're still in touch, of course. Yeah, we see each other at the festivals, and you know, we visit each other sometimes when we play in town and stuff. So yeah.
And Mike, as a guitar player, what do you think is the main difference between German thrash and American thrash? Tough question.
German thrash is a little bit more raw, I would say, and a little bit more punkish.
Yeah.
And the American one is more even and more...
More linear?
More linear.
Not as edgy, maybe. Yeah. The German was more edgy and
roughish,
a little,
little bit more punk attitude, I would say. Yeah.
The German thrash.
Yes.
Well, guys, I know that you have to play, so I'd like to thank you so much for the music that you've been creating for like 3 decades. I hope you're still doing what you do.
Always a pleasure to come to Brazil. You know, our very first show was in South America. Was in Brazil in '89, right. and that was for us it was phenomenal to come here and see that there's heavy metal fans, so many heavy metal fans in Brazil, and people came from all over South America at the time.
But you have good memories from it.
Yeah, we met Sepultura. I got my first tattoo in Brazil here back in the day. Max brought me to his tattoo artist, and I got my first tattoo. So there's a lot of memories from Brazil, and the first caipirinha, I went back home to Germany and said, I had this drink, and we have to somehow recreate it, but nobody could get cachaça in Germany at that time, and also limes were difficult to get, so.
We have other German friends that they say exactly the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste the same, maybe because it's a different.
You have to vibe of Brazil with it,
Yeah, the vibe. Yeah. They say the same.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I would like each of you to select one song for us to play on the show. It can be a distraction song or a song that inspired you or that you like. Anything you want.
I love Judas Priest.
Judas Priest.
Yeah, I would always recommend you to play a good song from Unleashed in the East, maybe The Ripper or something.
The Ripper, okay. Yeah. And you, Mike?
Do you have Old Blackfoot?
Blackfoot?
Yeah.
All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning?
Yeah.
All right. That's your choice.
I like Southern rock a lot.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much, and hope you have a good time in Brazil again.
I will. Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
Like always.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Man, do it, man.